As she rolled down the narrow corridor, all she could hear was her son crying out, "I want my mommy, I want my mommy." There was nothing she could do. She asked the nurse if he could just go with her and stand in the hallway while she was getting her x-rays. "No," the nurse replied, "he's in good hands." 20 or 30 minutes later, she was reunited with her 4-year-old son. "You are such a brave little man, and mommy thanks you." Later on that evening, upon being admitted into the hospital, there was yet another cry, this time at home. "I don't want to stay here," with tears streaming. "I want to go to the hospital with mama." Her 11-year-old daughter was very upset not being with her mother at the hospital. "Okay, you can go up there with me when I take your mom her things," her dad replied. The son's name is Tidewater. He was born April 30th, 2005, right here in Norfolk, Virginia, home of 246,139 residents as of 2013. He is the youngest of 4 children and attends Coleman Place Elementary, which was opened January 15, 1925, with 130 students, 8 classrooms, 3 teachers, and a teaching principal. Tidewater is an amazing child. Now 9, he has been faced with many obstacles. His strength and tenacity has allowed him to overcome bullying. He was picked on during his ride to and from school, once even being stuck multiple times with a thumbtack by a girl on the bus. He found the courage to tell an adult and have the situation dealt with properly instead of resorting to violence. The daughter's name is Trinity. Born August 11, 1998, she is the 3rd of 4 children, hence the name Trinity. Now 16, she is a junior at Maury High School, which opened its doors in the fall of 1910, and is the oldest high school in Norfolk. She too was born in Norfolk, Virginia. Also being a child of overcoming obstacles, she has defeated depression, having been hospitalized at Kempsville Psychiatric Hospital. She also struggles with bullying by students and teachers. Their ability to stand tall in the face of adversity is what makes me proud to call them my children. Almost 10 years ago, I was suddenly stricken with the worst pain imaginable. It happened to be the exact same time I was pregnant with Tidewater. Imagine trying to breathe with 6 cinder blocks sitting on your chest. Worse than that, numerous doctors and specialists alike telling you they can't find what's wrong. One doctor, and I quote, said, "You have pleurisy. We don't know why, but the same way it came, it will leave. I will not string you along as they did me." Pleurisy involves inflammation of the tissue layers lining the lungs and the inner chest wall. Pleurisy is often associated with the accumulation of fluid between the 2 layers of pleura, known as pleural effusion, as stated in medicinenet.com. Despite the horrific pain and tremendous amount of pain medication I was on, Tidewater was still born healthy, and the pain eventually subsided. Let's fast forward a bit. 4 years later, in 2009, my husband and I were planning our wedding, and out of nowhere, pain returned 10 times worse. The bottom of both my legs swelled to the size of my thighs. I had not been able to sleep in months because the intense pain in my chest would not allow me to lay flat or on my side. My breathing was so shallow that it caused my body to go in distress. I had seen doctor after doctor and still no diagnosis. At this time, I would still go to work every day. I would get up every morning to get my children ready for school and make sure they were able to eat and do their homework. It finally took its toll. I went once again to another doctor, this time a gallbladder specialist, who could not figure out why they referred me to him. Upon asking me many questions, he admitted me into DePaul Hospital, fearing that my body would shut down completely. This was the one appointment that I had taken my son to, thinking that they would just refer me to another doctor, but they didn't. I was admitted. The screams I heard from Tijan still haunts me to this day. I had never felt so helpless in my life. I stayed in the hospital for about a week. I can't tell you what happened in there because it was all one big blur. I was heavily medicated. Apparently my family and friends were there to support me, but I don't remember anything but seeing my husband sitting beside me when I was in and out of consciousness. My daughter had even stayed the night with me in the chair beside my bed. I do not remember. When I left the hospital, I felt much better, but it wasn't over. There were still more doctors to come. Eventually, about a year later, I was diagnosed with primary Sjogren's syndrome. Sjogren's is a chronic autoimmune disease in which people's white blood cells attack their moisture-producing glands. Today, as many as 4 million Americans are living with this disease. Although the hallmark symptoms are dry eyes, dry mouth, fatigue, and joint pain, Sjogren's may also cause dysfunction in other organs such as the kidneys, gastrointestinal system, blood vessels, lungs, liver, pancreas, and the central nervous system. Patients may also experience extreme fatigue and joint pain and have a higher risk of developing lymphoma. This information is found in the Sjogren's Syndrome Foundation website. Seeing my children, Tijan and Trinity, as well as my other two children, Tavion and Isaiah, become so supportive and accommodating can only make my healing process flow seamlessly. Without their diligence, I may not even be here. They make me better. Their caring and support is pure and untainted. There are always going to be valleys, but with those come mountaintops. And I know I will always be able to have fantastic sunrises with my children by my side.
Broken, down on your knees, trying to find a way out, running through the fire and trying to feel the rain, and just out of nowhere, a miracle just appears with so much life. Well, meet Lydia James, the mother of one, the girl with the broken soul, and the restless miseries, and someone who found out that her life could change every day for the better, right in front of her, from her own creation. Lydia James was born on July 22nd, 1990 in Newark, New Jersey, one of the largest cities in the state of New Jersey. She was raised by her grandmother along with her two brothers. Lydia and her siblings moved from place to place, shelter to shelter. They experienced many struggles through this life journey, from being robbed, having to fight, and on top of that, trying to live comfortably in a life of poverty. Once they finally settled down with family members, you would think life would have got easier for Lydia. But unfortunately, it didn't change. At the age of 7, Lydia found herself sleeping in the comfort of her bed, to strangely notice when she woke the next morning, she was somewhere different. For 6 years, she had this mysterious sleep relocation, to later discover that she was being raped in the middle of the night by her own uncle, who lived in the same home that she thought was a place of comfort. Although I didn't face these tragedies of being raped by someone I thought was family, but I have endured a tragic moment of my life. My grandmother trying to kill me. My own grandmother. It went from a simple whooping about something I was wrongly accused of doing out of anger and outrage. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I'll call and tell your dad and your grandmother. I'll kill you. I can still hear the outburst of hate screaming in my ear. What could possibly be worse? At the age of 13, Lydia reunited with her mother, Gwen, where she and her brothers moved to Norfolk, Virginia, a city known for its large popular neighbor base. After settling into this new neighborhood, she got a phone call about one of her closest uncles. He had been shot and killed, then to later find out he had not only been killed, but buried alive. This tragedy took a huge toll on her life. While dealing with this misfortune, she began to get bullied in her new neighborhood for being plus sized and ugly. By the age of 17, Lydia had become violent and very angry, with not very angry with not the things in her life, but also with herself, all in the midst of trying to find love in all the wrong places. She constantly fought people in the neighborhood, and anything could trigger her rage. Although her fighting led to her getting stabbed and even placed in a group home, she didn't care. She felt like nothing could be worse than the experience she had already faced. In 2007, I lost my mother to multiple sclerosis and lupus. Multiple sclerosis is a disease which affects the brain and the spinal cord, and lupus is a disease that can affect any part of the body. Both chronic diseases that unfortunately have no cure. This situation took a deep toll on my life because I was such a young child. And just like Lydia, I was also bullied by my grandmother all through elementary and middle school for being plus size, and apparently I was ugly, but not only to her, I was ugly to myself. Just in the nick of time, by the age of 20, you, myself, and Lydia would have thought that she faced enough, but according to the man in the upper room, he was not through with her yet. Through a friend's desire, Lydia found out she was pregnant with a little boy, and from that moment, her life changed for the best. After her son's birth, she discovered he had sickle cell anemia. Although she didn't understand its seriousness, she knew she was going to stand strong for her son. She was determined to make his life brighter than her struggles. The anger she had built up, she turned into positivity. And she now realizes that the downfall she experienced were only eye-openers to the best that life had to offer. Lydia now looks at life with so many goals and aspirations that are to be achieved. Although her uncle's death still taunts her, her son gives her all more reason to strive to be better than her past. At the age of 17, I didn't think anything else could be more worse than what I've already experienced. From the bullying, almost being killed, but I felt a little peace when I met Lydia James and her son Isaiah, and heard her story and their experiences. They changed my life because I knew if she could do it, so could I. I have known Lydia and her son for 3 years now, and Isaiah gives both of us hope through our daily encounters. I treat Isaiah like my own son since the day he was born, and I am now a proud godmother. Despite being raped and bullied, Lydia obtained self-esteem and self-pride through the birth of her son. She realized that life wasn't just tragedy, hurt, and pain, but you could find happiness and love. And there is gold on the other side of life's rainbow. You just have to prepare yourself for the fight along the way. But for myself, I think of all the hardships and to see that I can become more than what others expected of me. I think of goals to accomplish on a daily basis and how to achieve my dreams. Lydia James and her son inspires me every day because I can wake up and know we can all achieve the dream. And I hope this life experience can make a positive impact on yours and help you believe that the sun does shine on rainy days.